All right, let's get cooking here on this Thursday morning. It's Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball, and I'm your host, Dan Besbris, and this is your Wednesday recap edition of the pod where we will be covering the following topics. That's right, lined them up for you right there on the screen, YouTubers. Jaden McDaniels, Mike Conley, Nick Richards, Onyeka Okongwu, Mark Williams, the Utah Jazz, Cason Wallace, Buddy Hield, and Trace Jackson Davis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 main topics as we recap the Wednesday evening card. Those are in the order that the games actually happened last night, not in order of preference or anything like that. But certainly Jaden McDaniels has to be the main story, and it's kind of a 2-week story right now. As much as it pains me to admit it, he's been very, very good. So the Jaden McDaniels thing is a weird one because we've been down this road countless times now, over and over and over again. He has these surges of value and then goes back to doing next to nothing. Is this time different? The answer to that is, I don't think any of us really knows. We can try to find explanations that help sort of fit the puzzle pieces together, but I don't know that any of them is actually more than us kind of grasping at straws. Because you can go to his game log, even as recently as this year, and see a couple of these Jaden McDaniels up and down. So he had an up, let's see, when the hell was that? It was like December 6th-ish through about December 21st. He had a pretty good stretch. I'm trying to figure out exactly how many games were in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. He had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Like, he had 13 steals and 5 or 6 blocks, and he was hitting more than a three-pointer a game, and he was shooting the ball relatively well, and he was taking 9 to 12 shots per game. And then I don't know what happened after that, but on the 23rd, they went to Atlanta, and the bottom fell out. The steals were still there, but he stopped taking shots. 6, 7, 6. There was a 12, then an 8, then a 12, then another 6, 5, 9, 4. He went back hard into the mid to low single digits. And then, all of a sudden now, on January 11th, he was like, you know what, I'm going to get back into the mix again. He shot 9 out of 12 in that ball game, and something clicked. Then he went 8, 9, 11, 9, 12, 18 shots over his last 7 ball games. He's been in double figures in 6 of those 7 games. He has shot over 50% in 4 of those 7 games. So he's been hot, but not like lava hot. He has 4, 5, 6, 12 steals in those 7 games. He has 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 blocks in those 7 games. So he's kind of right in the neighborhood of like 1.5 of each. And he just looks more involved. The minutes are higher. You know, he's mid to high 30s, even into the low 40s in a couple of these games. Although I think one of those might have been overtime. Not both of them, though. And they're just sort of leaning into it. Now, there is the caveat. Dante DiVincenzo's been out the last couple. Maybe that's part of it. Just more kind of wing minutes available. And at the risk of being bamboozled for about the 80th time in Jaden's young career, pick him up. See what happens. If you're in Roto, you can keep him on your bench if you don't trust him, which I wouldn't blame you. Because, again, we've done this same song and dance a lot of times before, and it has never stuck yet. But you kind of want to make sure that you're the guy there waiting for it if this is the time that it does. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Find me on Twitter at Dan Besbris, DanBesbris. On Blue Sky at Old Man Squad. Again, I've noticed there's been a sort of like a mini migration over the last couple of days. So just a reminder, I will be posting most of my stuff at both places. There will usually be more on Twitter because it's just sort of easier for me to follow everything that's happening over there. I have my feed properly culled. Also, old TweetDeck, which is a plugin for Google Chrome. It's been a lifesaver. So yes, there will be a little bit more on Twitter than on Blue Sky, but I'm going to try to be on both just for whoever out among you guys wants both. Old Man Squad Fantasy is our handle over on Instagram. That just has our short videos over there. So please do drop a follow on those. Next thing I need you guys to do, like the video that you're watching right now. Stop, do it. Come on, let's do this thing. Subscribe to Old Man Squad Fantasy Sports. This is this website, this I guess it's whatever we are, a podcast network. Power blasting into the stratosphere. I mean, I've been in one of those, like, okay, excluding the fires and the influenza, I've been in one of those kind of like head down and just, power forward kind of modes lately. And the growth has been crazy. Like, never in my wildest dreams that I think we were going to get to these types of metrics just looking on YouTube alone. So please subscribe. And if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, throw that 5-star review on it if you haven't done that already. Those remain super helpful, especially as we loop back around to next fantasy draft season when more people are kind of looking for that new content. And finally, last thing I need you guys to do, pre-like our trade deadline video. It's in the show description. Also, the donation link if you want to donate anything to the burnt down elementary school where my kid went, that's in there. Yeah, pre-like the trade deadline show. You guys can handle that. I'm certain of it. We're at 584. We're never going to get to 1,000, not with missing 15 days because of fires and sicknesses. But we can try. Damn it. Okay, I think that's all the stuff we wanted to cover besides the Jaden McDaniels top of the board thing. Let's get into the actual boxes from last night. Minnesota, we talked about Jaden McDaniels. They beat Dallas by 1. Mike Conley had 18 and 8. Really good game for Conley. Now, that one is direct correlation to the Dante DiVincenzo stuff, but it hasn't been sort of a one-to-one kind of thing. Like, the immediate thought was, when DiVincenzo goes down, Conley's going to have to do more. And he really hasn't until this one. Does this wake him up? I don't think there's a waking up going on here. You're probably looking at a bit of a threes and assists schedule play type of dude. I don't think you need to pick up Mike Conley after one decent ball game. Good to see Rudy Gobert actually get a couple of blocks and make all 8 of his foul shots. But the rebounds just aren't there for Rudy this year. Naz Reid continues to climb the board. 12 and 6 with a steal and a couple of 3 balls on good shooting. What is Naz up to now? Is he inside? Yeah, he's right on number 100. How about that? Made it all the way back. And he still hasn't had a game where anyone in the front court has had to sit it out. By the way, Naz is top 50 over the last 3 weeks. On the Dallas side, I think you can just pare this thing down to 3 main names. We talked in a short yesterday and on Twitter when Derek Lively was ruled out for 2 months. He's a drop. If you missed the short video or any of the tweets that we put out, Derek Lively's a drop because odds are he's not back even before the end of the season. And even if he is, we're talking about less than a handful of games. 5 games probably max for Lively. There's no reason to hang on to that in any format. Daniel Gafford has an opportunity to go crazy for the next 30 games. Just enjoy that if you've been able to sort of get on and off of Daniel Gafford throughout the season. If you've been holding him and praying, I guess this is prayers answered, but Gafford was trending hard down. So this is where sometimes it's better to be lucky than good kind of thing with fantasy. There really wasn't any reason to hold on to Gafford other than when Lively missed games, and now Lively's out forever. So there you go. And then PJ Washington is obviously the third guy. He had 30 and 7. Nobody's really talked about PJ at all lately because he's been, I don't know, like fine, but not great. He's still inside the top 100. Hang on tight. By the way, I'll also mention, and I talked about it in our Buy Low show, and I don't want to get too sidetracked by this because we did just talk about it in the Buy Low show. This is the time to trade for Luka Doncic. Luka, right when he went down, everybody kept asking me, should I trade for Luka and stash right now? Should I stash Luka right now? I was like, I don't know, man. Like, you're going to stash a dude for 6 weeks that might not be back before your head-to-head playoffs? That's a saucy play. Now is the time to do it. Because now we're probably 2 to 3 weeks away from a Luka return, and there hasn't been a news break about how close he is. Friends, BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in the calendar year 2025. Whether you're a seasoned veteran or a first-time noob, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion. From touchdowns to three-pointers and hat tricks, BetOnline has you covered on every game, every play, and every win, ranging from football to the NBA, college basketball, NHL, UFC, and so much more as we scroll throughout the year. BetOnline is the number one sports betting source for the new year. BetOnline, the game starts here. Detroit got another win. Detroit's kind of road warriors right now. I'm impressed with the Pistons. They're 23-21, and they're 13-10 on the road. Friends, that's the fourth best road record in the Eastern Conference. It would basically be like the fourth or fifth best road records in the Western Conference. The Pistons are just flat out not bad this year. Cade was excellent. Jalen Duren was decent. He's been better lately. Where's Duren at? He's up to number 111 on the season. And, I mean, this is kind of like a lot of stuff coming to fruition. The injury to Isaiah Stewart sort of woke him up. And then over the last month, he's playing about 26 minutes a game and averaging 12 and 11. The blocks are a little bit on the high side, and he's shooting 72% from the field over that stretch. So there's probably a downturn coming. I maintain the same take I've had for a long time, which is if you want to sell Duren, this is a good time to do it. There was a stretch where I said I would take anybody back inside the top 100 that I knew was going to stick there. I think you could probably get more for him now because the good stretch has lasted for a month. I don't know who that means. Maybe Gobert. I don't know. Gobert's been a pain in the butt lately. He's been worse than Duren over the last month. That's for damn sure. And they're kind of coming together in overall rank. So maybe you could even aim higher. Maybe I would go try to get Daniel Gafford. Although the Mavs could move a big man, I guess. Gafford's fantasy game does translate better. I don't think you're going to be able to get Bam. That's aiming too high. I don't know what other centers are in there. I don't want DeAndre Ayton, although like price-wise, he probably would make sense. You're not going to get Zubats. That's, again, you're aiming too high. You might just ride it at this point. Okongwu, Nasri, these guys are interesting, but a little too spicy. Anyway. Malik Beasley as a whole, despite the slightly lower minutes, he did have 5 threes. He's very much a one-dimensional player, though. This is a sell moment for Asar Thompson. We've talked about it when he has good ball games. You try to sell somebody on like the potential that he's going to suddenly play 35 minutes a game. Spoiler alert, he's not because he can't shoot. He does other stuff that's great, but they need spacing. On the Atlanta side, Trae Young was not very good in this ball game, but whatever. Like, we don't do this show to talk about the guys that are decidedly on rosters. So, you know, Jalen Johnson, 6 steals, great. Clint Capella had 16 and 10 off the bench, but Okongwu is the guy you want right now. Started, played 27 minutes. If that's the way the minute split's going to look, you definitely want Okongwu. So Okongwu's all systems go. DeAndre Hunter's a hold, just a bad shooting game. He shot 2 for 14. He'll be better in the next one. If he's getting 14 shots up off the pine, that's enough. So Trae, Hunter, Okongwu, Dyson Daniels, Jalen Johnson, and then if you're punting free throws, you might go Capella, but even that's a little bit Phoenix blew out the Zombie Nets. This game was over relatively early. Booker, Durant, Tyus Jones is still hanging around on my rosters. He's taken a hit lately, but he's been just good enough. And then Nick Richards, 15 rebounds in 22 minutes. He's definitely a hold as we see what he's going to be. My guess is still kind of in that 100 range for Richards, but that'll play. For Brooklyn, you've got Keon Johnson, you've got Jalen Wilson, you've got Nick Claxton, you've got Noah Clowney, you've got Tyrese Martin, all these zombie. I guess Claxton is better than a zombie option, but everybody was out. Ben Simmons was out. D'Lo sat this one out. Cam Johnson sat this one out. This is stupid, and you can throw it away. All right, let's take a quick break because I've been promising this for a while. We're going to play an underdog lineup together on today's show. And I'll admit to you guys, I'm bad at DFS. So this could go a number of ways. I don't think that you guys necessarily should follow exactly what I'm doing here. First things first, you got to sign up. So use the promo code OLDMAN, OLDMAN, or click the link in the show description, and that'll take you to UnderdogFantasy.com, and you can sign up. And when you get there, you'll be able to get $1,000 in bonus cash on a 50% deposit match, up to $1,000. So I should say, so if you put in $2,000, they'll give you an extra $1,000 in your account. That's crazy, but they'll do it. But let's say that you want to start with something a little more reasonable. You want to put $100 in your account. They'll 50% you up to $150. So you start with $150 in your account. And the best part, I believe, like the bonus cash is nice. I prefer the gimme pick. Oh, it's not basketball today. That's disappointing. I don't want to have to wait until Sunday to see if my card hits. All right, maybe we won't blow the gimme pick. Is that the pick that it's going to be the whole way through? Or is there not going to be a basketball one? Oh, I feel sad now. All right, so we'll take the gimme pick. So you take the freebie. It's Patrick Mahomes over a half a yard, which I believe is passing or running or both. So that's obviously a freebie. Like, as long as Patrick Mahomes makes it through like one set of downs, that's going to be a projection that hits. What else are we going to do? Well, this is where we get into the weeds a little bit. I'm going to click over to the NBA tab, and we're going to build this thing out together. San Antonio, Indiana. Oh, is that an early game today? Oh, that game starts early. All right, so the hell with that one. We're going to jump over San Antonio, Indiana, because I don't look. I'm not that good at DFS anyway. Let's see if we can find a game where some guys are out or are questionable. Like, okay, here we go. Franz Wagner is expected to maybe make his return for the Magic against Portland tonight, and I've got to think he's on a pretty severe minutes cap. So even if he starts chucking up shots, I'm going to take the lower on point, board, assist combo for Franz. That's 26.5. It's obviously lower than expected, but I think it's going to be even lower than that. And maybe the way to go with Franz is to look at, like, they have first quarter totals. You could look at overs for those if you wanted, because he'll probably log a lot of his minutes at the beginning of the ball game. You can't take an under on a double-double. That would obviously have been one to punch into. 8.5 boards, assists. That's interesting, actually, because his point total is at 17.5. So the altogether here is 9 point, board, assist. And here at 8.5, it's a lower number. So you could actually take, if you thought he was going to, and you can't do two things with the same guy. They don't let you pick two numbers on the same dude. But, like, if you think he was going to get 9 points, boards, and assists, you should definitely take the rebounds and assists number and take the higher. And if you think it's going to be lower than that, go with this one because they've set that number at 9. Got a little bit of a mismatch there, right? Well, because they don't want to push. And they had 4.5 assists, 4.5 rebounds, so 8.5 combined. Anyway, so I got Patrick Mahomes. That's the freebie that's in my lineup here. I've got the under on Franz Wagner for point, board, and assist in his return from an oblique tear. What else we got in this ball game? Do we go the Portland side? No, we can keep looking. I mean, we can get crazy with this. Miami, Milwaukee. Jimmy Butler is suspended again. We got some Bam lines. We got some Tyler Hero lines. We got a Nikola Jovic line. Khalil Ware. 15.5. That's a pretty big number for him. Even if he starts, that's a pretty big number. I'm going to take the... Oh, see, everybody's betting the lower on Ware. So maybe that's a foolish gambit on my part. Let's see. We got Toronto, Atlanta, OKC, and Dallas. Sacramento, Denver. Didn't Sacramento play a super late game last night? Yeah, so the Kings beat the Warriors in a tight one, and now they're flying into altitude, or is that a home game again for them? Oh, no. They're in altitude? That's brutal. Oh, that's a tough. So this is a schedule loss for Sacramento. They might try to do it, but I think that they run out of gas. So I would look at some under, maybe an old guy. An old guy might be a good one. So let's go DeMar DeRozan lower than 21.5 points. I think that they're they're just going to be beyond cooked. Or we can go under on the points, boards, and assists together if we think that maybe he gets to the point total, but the other stuff isn't there. No, we'll just go with points. All right, so that's my card for today. Patrick Mahomes is my freebie. Franz is an under. DeMar DeRozan is an under. And I'll put $5 on it. No, we'll put a whole 10. They'll let us max out at 10. So I'm going to play for 60. Yep, I'm going to confirm that bet. I got to ID myself. All right, you guys don't need to watch that. I haven't verified my identification yet. That's bad advertising on my part. But you know what? You guys got to play along with me. You know what I'm waiting for, and we'll see if it works. All right, back to the card at hand. This was looking at the next one here. We were talking about Charlotte and Memphis. We'll move through this a little bit quicker. Mark Williams, 38, 9, and 5. Holy crap, guys. LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges, the other two guys you're starting. Keep one eye on Nick Smith Jr., but I don't think you need to pick him up yet. On the Memphis side, Santi Aldama left early with an illness that kind of opened the door for a big Luke Kennard game. I swear, if you guys could tell me the days when Luke Kennard was going to play 26 to 33 minutes, that'd be great. But we never really know. So just go Ja, Bane, JJJ, and Aldama when apparently he's healthy enough to make it through the ballgame. Utah, out of nowhere, brought back all their guys, except Jordan Clarkson. John Collins came back. Colin Sexton came back. Walker Kessler was back after a rest day. Lauri Markkanen was back from his back spasms. Did they just decide they'd lost enough games and they were like, whatever, we're going to lose this one no matter who we play, so have some fun. They do now have the second worst record in the NBA, so maybe that was the goal, get to bottom 2 and then turn them loose a little bit. In any event, John Collins is a start now. Walker Kessler is a start. Lauri Markkanen is a start. Colin Sexton is kind of a maybe. He was good in this ballgame other than the 8 turnovers, but it does worry me a tad when Keontae George is in also. And then Keontae George is also a little bit of a worry because the field goal is going to be disastrous for him. If you're punting field goal, Keontae's a start. If you're not, he's pretty iffy. Sexton is kind of the same thing, but for, more like threes and steals, I guess. But I probably would start Sexton, even if I end up feeling bad about it after the fact. Shea had 54. That dude's having a pretty good year. He's actually moved in front of Victor Wembanyama for number 2 in 9-cat by per game. And by totals, Shea's number 1 because he's been the most durable guy at the top of the board. With 42 games played, Jokic 37, Wemby 36. Cason Wallace, 13 and 4 with 3 steals and a block. He continues to solidify himself as playable, even off the bench in this ball game, which I will admit, I didn't like it. As soon as I heard he was coming off the bench, I didn't start him against the games cap, but turns out we could have. That's okay. I'd rather play it safe. We were keeping one eye on Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams, Jalen. There's no way to do this on a podcast without highlighting it. We could say Wylan Williams, and then the other one could be Jalen. We'll go Jalen and Wylan. So Wylan Williams played 20 minutes. And this was the fear. He had 2 good ball games, but I never really thought there was going to be a true center. They'll play Jalen Williams at the 5 if they need to. So no, you're not picking up Wylan Williams. Cavs are once again without Evan Mobley. Darius Garland had a chance to win the game with 3 free throws at the end of regulation. He made 1 of them and ended up going 3 out of 8 at the free throw line. Oopsie whoopsies. Ah, well. Another really nice game for Jared Allen, which does tend to happen when Evan Mobley's out. But, I mean, regardless, what you guys don't need me to talk you through the Cavaliers. They're the same crap every day. It's good crap, but it's the same. Tari Eason, 3 steals. Amen Thompson was great again. Freddie VanVleet has quietly moved his way into the 4th round. Şengün was solid. And Jalen Green had a Jalen Green kind of bottom fell out sort of ball game. I don't know if this means he's about to go insanely cold. It's possible. Maybe, maybe not. Cavs are a good team. That may have been part of it. But if we think Jalen Green's about to hit the skids, then you unload. Try to sell for something. Top 80 you might have been able to get while on this hot streak. Or if you think it's just a one-game aberration, you blink twice like the trolls from Frozen, bleep, bleep, and move on. Warriors led this game by almost 20 points at one juncture and went on to crap themselves the rest of the way. From just a straight fantasy standpoint, Trayce Jackson-Davis shifted to the bench. Gary Payton got the start. Kevon Looney also started because Draymond Green is out. Obviously, Jonathan Kuminga's been out for a little while. Brandon Podziemski's been out for a little while. Wiggins and Steph Curry are your very safe plays. If Trayce Jackson-Davis moves back into the starting five, I'd feel pretty comfortable starting him off the bench. I don't, because you just don't know if he's going to get 18 or 19 minutes. He might not. We didn't know. I mean, obviously, looking back at this game, he got 24, but we didn't know that was going to happen. I would rather play Buddy Hield, who started in this ball game, for Dennis Schroeder, who's the Warriors are like, we traded for this? Dennis Schroeder's been awful for Golden State. But look, if Buddy Hield is in the starting five, Buddy Hield needs to be in your starting lineup. And I have no idea if he's going to be on waivers or not in your league because he's gone back and forth between being somewhat useful and being terrible, like every 2 days, basically. But it does seem like Draymond's out for a couple of ball games. So I think you could probably go Buddy Hield for at least that length of time and then kind of feel it out after that. Or you just sort of like step over the carcass and keep going. For the Kings, you got 5 starters and you play 5 starters. That's where we're at right now. DeRozan, he's heated back up after a cold snap. We kind of knew that was going to happen, right? Right. He's back up to the number 50 slot. Sabonis continues to make his free throws this year. What a big difference that is. He's at 78% this season, and now he's a first rounder because of it. He also hit a three-pointer a game. Not that we really cared that much about that, but removing the free throw negative was such a big positive for him. Anyway, we're all looking at the Kings like, is there any way Keon Ellis could get 26 minutes? Nope. Boston rested a bunch of guys, took overtime to get past the Clippers, and Derek White had 20. He's been on our buy low board for a while. This will hurt that price a little bit. And then, the rest of this was like, what? Luke Cornett played 30 minutes and took 2 shots? Peyton Pritchard has fallen off a cliff. No huge surprise there. We always knew he wasn't going to stay inside the top 50. He's not really a buy or a sell. He's just a guy who's sort of like floating back down where he belonged to begin with, which is in that 75 to 110 range. That's just who he is. I have no other thoughts on the Celtics. I would imagine that some of their guys come back for their back-to-back tonight, and maybe other guys don't. But, like, Drew Holiday sat this one out. Porzingis sat this one out. Horford sat this one out. Am I forgetting anybody? Clippers did the same thing. Clippers sat everybody. If they had played one guy, they might have gotten through on won this ball game. Derek Jones Jr., Kevin Porter Jr., Amir Coffey, they all went crazy big with no Harden, no Kawhi, and no Norman Powell, and no Ivica Zubac. There was no proper center, really, to fill in on this one. Mo Bamba started. Kobe Brown picked up a fair number of center minutes. But it was really the two clear guys here were Porter Jr. and Jones Jr. Although Derek Jones Jr., has he removed the junior in some spots? Either way, Derek Jones, Kevin Porter, those are the guys that got all the usage. Those are the guys you would play if the Clippers ever decide to rest all 3 of their usage guys again in the near future. Thanks for watching, everybody. That is your episode of Old Man Squad Fantasy Basketball. We'll have another one for you at some point today. I don't know. Well, maybe not, because I decided to drop the Buy Low show first thing this morning. So that might be what we do again for the next one. Either way, we're trying to get back to recording 2 shows every day. When they drop, well, that's why you got to subscribe. Thanks to Underdog Fantasy. Thank you to Bet Online. Thank you to all of you for your likes, your subscriptions, your ratings and reviews. Come on, you got to subscribe at this point, don't you? Don't you? Dan Vespers on Twitter. I'll see you over there. So long.